Today we're checking out Jace Beleren Oathbreaker, one of the OG Planeswalkers. We're going to see what kind of signature spells might pair best with him. For 1 blue, he starts at 3 loyalty. +2, each player draws a card. -1, target player draws a card. -10, target player puts the top 20 cards of their library into their graveyard. I've made a lot of these videos, and I think this is the first Planeswalker that I've looked at and said, yeah, this could be a group hug Oathbreaker. And that's not really a thing in this format, very unique. If we wanted to go that route, we could pick a signature spell like Mind's Aglow. For a single blue mana, it has Join Forces. Starting with you, each player may pay any amount of mana. Each player draws X cards, where X is the total amount paid this way. This is actually the #1 signature spell choice with this Planeswalker. Prosperity is very similar. X blue, each player draws X cards. This is the 3rd most popular. And Windfall is 4th. For 3 mana, each player discards their hand, then draws cards equal to the greatest number of cards a player discarded this way. I like how, even though these are group hug style cards, we could still win the game with mill. Remember, Oathbreaker only has 60 cards in a deck. So between Jace and the signature spell and some other mill cards you have in the deck, yeah, you could actually win with this. If group hug is not your thing, we could just run a signature spell that mills your opponents, something like Maddening Cacophony. For 2 mana, with a kicker of 3 and a blue, each opponent mills 8 cards. If this spell was kicked, instead each opponent mills half their library, rounded up. And it's got Jace in the art, so that's a win for me. Or Fractured Sanity for blue, each opponent mills 14 cards. And I'm not sure if it's better or worse, but Tasha's Hideous Laughter for 3 mana, each opponent exiles cards from the top of their library until that player has exiled cards with total mana value 20 or more. Is that going to be more or less than the 14 cards? I would imagine it would be more, but I don't really know. Now for some non-mill options for signature spell. Mystical Tutor searches up an instant or sorcery and puts it on top of your library. Then you can +2 Jace to draw it right away and cast it the same turn. Commence the Endgame is a 6 mana instant, can't be countered. Draw 2 cards, then amass X, where X is the number of cards in your hand. If you've plussed Jace enough time, or minus him I guess, you could have a pretty full hand for this. Another possibility is self-mill and try to win with something like Thassa's Oracle. In that case, maybe Selective Memory for 4 mana. Search your library for any number of non-land cards and exile them, then shuffle. That's just going to leave you with lands. So those are going to be some pretty bad draws, but it does take out like 2/3 of your deck. You better make sure you have the card you need out of your deck first though. Mana Severance is kind of the reverse. For 2 mana, search your library for any number of land cards and remove them from the game. Paradigm Shift costs 2. Remove all cards in your library from the game. Shuffle your graveyard into your library. And last of all, I've got one more group hug, and it's my favorite. Show and Tell for 3 mana. Each player may put an artifact, creature, enchantment, or land card from their hand onto the battlefield. If you're going to be group hug, you might as well be group hug with some giant Eldrazi's that you can cheat into play. This guy looks like he wants to hug, right? Yeah, I think so. If you enjoy Oathbreaker content, hit that subscribe button for more. I've been trying to cover every playable Planeswalker in the format. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you next time.